It starts with a feeling you can't quite put your finger on, a glance that lingers a second too long, a conversation that feels a little too heavy for two people who are supposedly just friends. You're standing in a room full of people, but it feels like there's an invisible thread pulling the two of you together. It's confusing, it's exhilarating, and it's heavy with the weight of a secret neither of you has the courage to speak. But when that person is a married woman, the stakes aren't just high, they're life-altering. You're left wondering if you're crazy or if the energy between you is real. The truth is, human emotions don't always respect the boundaries of a wedding ring. Marriage is a commitment, but it's not an emotional vacuum. Sometimes a woman finds herself drawn to someone else, not because she's a bad person, but because there's an emotional void she's trying to fill. She might be hiding it from you, from her husband, and even from herself. But the subconscious doesn't have a filter. It leaks out in the way she stands, the way she looks at you, and the things she chooses to tell you when no one else is listening. One of the most powerful signals is the intensity of her focus. In a world full of distractions, her attention is a spotlight. If she's interested, you'll notice her pupils dilating when you speak. This is a physiological response she can't control. It's the body's way of saying it likes what it sees. She might use the triangle gaze, looking from your left eye to your right eye and then down to your lips. It's a subtle, almost instinctive move that signals a deeper desire for connection. And then there's the eye contact that breaks only when she realizes she's been staring. If she looks away quickly, blushing or appearing flustered, it's not because she's disinterested. It's because she's terrified of what you might see in her eyes. Beyond the eyes, look at the orientation of her body. We point our feet and shoulders toward what we desire. If you're in a group and she's constantly angled toward you, even while talking to someone else, her subconscious has already chosen its favorite person in the room. You'll see her mirroring your movements. If you lean in, she leans in. If you take a sip of your drink, she takes a sip of hers. This is called limbic synchrony. It's a primal way of building rapport and showing that you're on the same wavelength. Communication changes when a married woman is hiding her feelings. It moves from small talk about the weather to the vulnerability trap. She'll start sharing things about her life that she hasn't told anyone else, her fears, her unfulfilled dreams, or even subtle dissatisfactions in her marriage. By doing this, she's building an emotional intimacy that acts as a bridge. She's testing the waters to see if you'll be the one to catch her. You might notice she remembers every tiny detail you mention. Your favorite childhood snack, a random story about your dog, or a goal you mentioned months ago. This level of retention isn't just good memory, it's an investment. She's building a mental map of who you are because you matter to her. Then there's the effort of proximity. She'll suddenly start appearing in places where she knows you'll be. It looks like a coincidence, but it's a strategy. She might ask for your help with things she could easily handle herself. This is the hero instinct. By asking for your advice or a small favor, she's creating a reason to interact and making you feel significant in her life. It's a safe way for her to be near you without it looking suspicious to the outside world. But the most telling sign, and the most painful, is the push and pull. One day she's warm, laughing at your jokes and leaning into your space. The next day she's cold, formal, and avoids eye contact entirely. This isn't because she's playing games, it's because she's at war with herself. She's feeling the pull of her attraction and the weight of her guilt simultaneously. When she gets too close, her conscience kicks in, and she retreats to the safety of her married persona. This inconsistency is the loudest signal of all. It means her feelings are so strong that she's struggling to manage them. If you find yourself in this dynamic, you have to be the one to keep your head clear. It's easy to get caught up in the feels, but you have to look at the reality of the situation. A woman who is willing to hide her feelings from her husband is a woman who is in a state of deep emotional crisis. Respect her boundaries even if she isn't. Don't be the one to push the door open. If the connection is real and the marriage is truly over, that's a journey she has to take on her own, outside of your influence. Integrity isn't just about what you do when people are watching. It's about how you handle the silent, hidden moments where your heart and your head are at odds. Stay grounded, stay respectful, and remember that some signals are better left unread. You didn't ask for this. You didn't go looking for it. But suddenly there's this weight in the room whenever she walks in. It's an energy you can't ignore, like a low frequency hum that vibrates right in your chest. You're talking about nothing, the weather, some project, a random news story. But her eyes are telling a completely different story. They're heavy, they're searching. It's that feeling where you know, deep in your gut, that something shifted, but since there's a wedding ring on her finger, you tell yourself you're just seeing things. You tell yourself you're crazy because the alternative is way too complicated. But the truth is, the human heart doesn't always check for a ring before it starts racing. Life happens. Marriages hit walls. Emotional voids open up like canyons, and sometimes someone new steps into that space without even trying. She's hiding it, sure. She has a life, a commitment, and a reputation to protect. But the subconscious is a terrible liar. It leaks out in the way she breathes when you're close, the way her tone drops an octave when it's just the two of you, and the way she looks at you when she thinks you're not looking back. This isn't about some player vibe. It's about a woman who is genuinely caught between the life she built and a feeling she can't suppress. Let's talk about the eyes, because that's where the mask slips first. When a woman is hiding an attraction, her eyes become her biggest betrayers. You'll catch her doing the scanning look. Most people just look at your face, but she'll look at your eyes, then your mouth, then back to your eyes. It's an instinctive biological search for intimacy. If you catch her gaze and she looks away fast, like lightning fast, and starts fidgeting with her hair or her jewelry, that's not disinterest. That's a spike in cortisol. That's her heart rate jumping because she just got caught in her own secret. Watch her pupils. When we're attracted to someone, our pupils dilate. It's a physiological response that says, I want to see more of this. If you're in a dimly lit room and her eyes look like giant black pools, her body is literally trying to take in as much of you as possible. And then there's the lingering glance. Most people break eye contact after 3 seconds. If she holds it for 5, or if she breaks it and then immediately looks back with a small, shy smile, she's inviting you in, even if her words are staying strictly professional. Now, look at her body language, specifically her unconscious grooming. If she starts fixing her hair, adjusting her clothes, or touching her neck the moment you walk into the room, she's trying to appear more attractive to you without even realizing it. The neck is a high vulnerability zone. When a woman exposes her neck or touches it while talking to you, it's a sign of comfort and deep-seated trust. It's a submissive, I feel safe with you signal. The feet are the most honest part of the body because we rarely think about them. If she's talking to a group but her feet are pointed directly at you, that's where her interest is. It's like a compass pointing north, even if she's engaged in a conversation with someone else across the room. If her body is angled toward you, her subconscious has already decided who the most important person in that room is. And then there's the proximity play. She'll find reasons to be in your personal bubble. She'll lean in to show you something on her phone, or she'll stand just a few inches closer than social norms dictate. If she doesn't pull back when your shoulders brush, or when you're standing near her in a crowded space, she's telling you that she wants that closeness. Communication is where it gets really heavy. A married woman who likes you but is hiding it will often use the vulnerability trap. She'll start sharing things she hasn't told her husband. It starts small, a frustration at work, a childhood memory, but it grows. She's building an emotional bridge. She's creating a secret world that only the two of you live in. When she starts saying things like, I feel like I can really talk to you, or you get me in a way most people don't, she's not just being friendly. She's identifying you as her emotional primary. She'll remember every tiny thing you say, things you don't even remember saying. If you mentioned 3 weeks ago that you like a specific type of coffee, and she shows up with it or brings it up in conversation, she's been studying you. You're a project she's invested in. This level of detail-oriented memory is a massive sign of emotional investment. Most people are too busy with their own lives to remember your random childhood stories. If she remembers them, it's because she's replaying your conversations in her head when she's alone. Then comes the hero instinct. She'll ask for your help with things she clearly doesn't need help with. A tech issue, an opinion on a document, advice on a situation. She's creating a reason for you to be her protector. It's a safe way to interact without it looking like a date. By letting you save her in these small ways, she's reinforcing your importance in her life. It's a way to feel connected to you through a legitimate excuse. But the most confusing sign is the push and pull. This is the one that messes with your head. One day she's super warm, laughing at your jokes, texting you back immediately, and leaning into your space. Then the next day she's ice cold, she avoids you, gives one-word answers, and won't even look you in the eye. You think you did something wrong. You didn't. What's happening is a massive internal war. She felt herself getting too close, the guilt kicked in, or she got scared of how much she likes you, and she overcorrected. She's trying to prove to herself that she's still the good wife by pushing you away. This hot and cold behavior is one of the strongest indicators that there are deep feelings involved, because if she didn't care, her behavior would be consistent and just friends. If you're seeing these signs, you have to be the one to keep your head on straight. This is a minefield. You're dealing with a woman who is in a state of emotional crisis, whether she admits it or not. You have to decide if you're going to be the person who respects the boundaries she's struggling to keep or the person who pushes her over the edge. Integrity isn't about what you do when the world is watching. It's about what you do when there's a forbidden spark, and the only thing stopping you is your own moral compass. Don't play into the secret world. If the connection is real and her marriage is truly over, that's a path she has to walk by herself, with zero interference from you. Keep it respectful, keep it honest, and most importantly, keep your distance until the air is clear. Anything else is just a disaster waiting to happen. The worst part isn't the silence, it's the noise inside your head after she leaves the room. You're left standing there, dissecting every word, every look, and every accidental touch, trying to figure out if you're building a bridge or a gallows. Because let's be real, when a married woman sends these signals, she's not just looking for a friend. She's looking for a life raft. She's looking for a version of herself that she lost somewhere between the wedding vows and the mortgage payments. And you're the mirror reflecting that lost version back to her. It feels amazing to be the one she chooses to trust. It feels powerful to be the person who gets the smiles her husband hasn't seen in years. But you have to look past the rush of the ego and see the wreckage that's waiting at the end of this road. If she's hiding her feelings, it's because she knows the cost of letting them out. She knows that one honest conversation between the two of you could burn down the life she's spent a decade building. She's playing with fire, and she's hoping you'll be the one to get burned so she doesn't have to. When you see that push and pull behavior, that hot and cold cycle that keeps you up at night, understand that it's the sound of a woman's conscience screaming. Every time she gets close to you, she sees the ghost of the life she's supposed to be living. Every time she pulls away, she's trying to save herself. You're not just a guy she likes. You're a symptom of everything that's missing in her world. And as much as you might want to be the cure, you have to realize that you can't heal someone by helping them break a promise. If you truly care about her, not just the way she makes you feel, but her as a human being, you won't be the one to push the door open. You won't be the one to exploit those moments of vulnerability. True strength isn't winning the girl. It's having the integrity to walk away from a situation that isn't yours to win. If her marriage is a sinking ship, she needs to be the one to get to the lifeboat on her own. If you jump in to save her, all you're doing is making sure both of you drown when the waves of reality finally hit. So, take a breath. Look at the ring on her finger for what it actually is, a do not disturb sign for her soul. If she's sending you signals, acknowledge them in your own head, but don't give them a voice. Don't feed the fire, because at the end of the day, a man of character doesn't build his happiness on the ruins of someone else's home. You deserve a love that doesn't have to hide in the shadows. You deserve a connection that doesn't come with a side of guilt and 1,000 what ifs. The signals are real, the attraction is real, the chemistry is undeniable, but so is the commitment she made to someone else. Respect yourself enough to want more than being a secret. Respect her enough to let her figure out her own life without you being the distraction that keeps her from fixing what's broken. Walk away with your head high and your heart intact, because the only thing worse than a love you can never have is a love that costs you your soul to keep. Keep your boundaries firm, keep your eyes open, and keep your integrity above everything else. That's the only way this story ends without someone losing everything.